Today we're going to talk about something that might feel a little serious at first, but trust me, it's really empowering once you get into it. We're diving into why girls should start learning self defense at age 10, and why that early start can make a massive difference in confidence, safety, and awareness. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I'm doing here. Grab a notebook or just sit back in a safe corner of your living room, maybe at your local park or community center, and let's really dig into why this matters. Now let's listen to the compelling story in this video of mine. So first off, let's talk about early awareness. You might think, oh, she's only 10, she's just a kid. And yes, 10-year-olds are kids, but that's exactly why starting now is perfect. At this age, girls are old enough to understand basic instructions, yet young enough that the lessons sink in for a lifetime. Self-defense isn't just about learning how to throw a punch or block a grab. It's about noticing situations before they even turn risky. It's about reading body language, understanding uncomfortable vibes, and trusting your instincts. When girls start practicing at 10, they're not just building skills, they're building a mindset of awareness. I remember when my daughter first came home from a self-defense workshop. She was bubbling with excitement, showing me little drills she learned. At first, I thought it was just fun exercise, but then she started noticing things that even I hadn't. People moving a little too close in a crowded area, strange hands reaching for objects without asking, sudden changes in tone when she was talking to strangers. She was noticing her environment differently, and that awareness is priceless. Kids often think it won't happen to me, and while it's great to be optimistic, knowing how to read your surroundings early gives them a proactive edge. Starting young also normalizes safety skills as part of everyday life. Imagine if learning to stand up for yourself or recognize danger was treated the same way as learning to ride a bike or swim. At 10, the lessons feel natural. They don't come with the fear or resistance a teenager might feel. You're messing around with your classmates, laughing at some clumsy moves, but deep down, those drills are rewiring your brain to react calmly under stress. By starting early, the movements, reactions, and decisions become second nature, almost like muscle memory for safety. Another reason early awareness is crucial is that childhood is a period where confidence grows rapidly when nurtured. I've seen it countless times. Girls who practice self-defense feel lighter, taller, prouder. They walk a little differently because they know they have tools to protect themselves, not that they're bracing for threats. That confidence bleeds into every corner of life, from asking questions in class to standing up to bullies on the playground. The benefits of starting at 10 are subtle but life-changing. You're not just learning to throw a block, you're learning that your voice and body have power. Now, I want you to imagine a typical day at school. Lunchroom crowded, lockers buzzing, and a new student joins. Without awareness, that student's clumsy actions or even playful teasing might go unnoticed until it escalates. But a girl who's been practicing self-defense since age 10 has an inner radar. It's not paranoia, it's situational intelligence. She can step back, create space, and even verbally assert herself without confrontation escalating. The skills she learns in drills, how to keep distance, how to project confidence, how to react calmly, translate directly to real life. Starting early gives her a head start on mastering these instinctual responses. It's also worth noting that awareness isn't about fear. I always emphasize this with my daughter. Knowing danger exists doesn't mean you live in fear. It means you live prepared. 10-year-olds can carry this mindset beautifully because they haven't yet absorbed the world's cynicism. They approach self-defense as a game of learning power and independence, which is exactly how it should feel. Teaching them to be aware without being scared is a subtle art, and beginning at this age makes it second nature. Lastly, starting at 10 allows for incremental learning. Self-defense isn't a one-day skill you pick up and forget. It's a layered process. Early starters have the advantage of time. By the time they reach adolescence, they've already built the foundations: awareness, reflexes, confidence. These elements compound over time. By 12 or 13, they're not just practicing punches or blocks, they're thinking strategically, anticipating scenarios, and making decisions in split seconds. 10 is the sweet spot where the mind is curious, receptive, and energetic. making the learning curve smoother and more enjoyable. So, to wrap up this first part, early awareness isn't just about knowing how to defend against an attacker. It's about cultivating a mindset of safety, confidence, and observation. Starting self defense at age 10 gives girls the tools to notice danger, trust their instincts, and react calmly, all while having fun and building physical and mental skills. It sets a foundation for everything else that comes later, from learning proper techniques to building mental resilience and empowerment. And the beauty is, these lessons stick. The habits, the instincts, the confidence, they become part of who they are. All right, moving on, let's talk about something that gets a little more physical: building strength. Now, I'm not talking about becoming a bodybuilder at 10, no one's expecting that, but learning self defense is like giving your body a toolkit. Each kick, each stance, each block you practice strengthens muscles, coordination, and balance. And here's the kicker: it also strengthens your mind. When girls start training at age 10, they're building a foundation for lifelong physical confidence. And that foundation grows far beyond just punches or holds. When my daughter started her first self-defense class, I noticed she came home buzzing with energy. Her arms were slightly stronger, her posture improved, and even the way she carried her backpack changed. That's the kind of subtle growth that can go unnoticed by most adults. But for a child, it's transformative. Physical strength at a young age translates to confidence. A girl who knows she can push herself up, stand tall, and move efficiently feels safer and more capable. That strength is both literal and psychological. You see, building physical skills through self-defense is different from typical gym exercises. It's dynamic. You're learning to move in ways that protect you. You practice falling safely, twisting away from grabs, keeping your balance under stress. These drills are like puzzles for your body. Each movement teaches coordination and spatial awareness. And when you do it consistently, your body starts to respond almost automatically. By the time a real-life situation arises, your muscles remember what to do even if your mind is panicking. That's the beauty of starting at 10. Your body has time to learn and internalize these movements naturally. But strength isn't only about muscles. It's also about endurance and resilience. Self-defense classes teach girls to push through fatigue, to try again after mistakes, and to celebrate incremental progress. One day, my daughter struggled with a basic wrist escape move. She got frustrated, but her instructor encouraged her to keep practicing. The next session, she nailed it. That experience, learning to persist, was a form of mental muscle building that parallels physical growth. Early practice teaches girls that failure isn't defeat, it's a step toward mastery. Coordination is another huge benefit. Self-defense isn't just arms and legs flailing. It's about timing, precision, and awareness of your body in space. For a 10-year-old, learning how to coordinate movements, adjust posture, and anticipate an opponent's motion develops fine motor skills and reflexes that spill over into sports, dance, and even everyday activities. My daughter's handwriting, her balance on the playground, and even her focus in art class improved simply because her body felt more in tune with itself. Physical literacy starts young, and self-defense is a perfect way to nurture it. Let's also talk about the empowerment that comes from being strong. Strength, especially for young girls, is often underestimated. Society sometimes sends messages that girls should be delicate or passive, but practicing self-defense flips that script. When a girl learns that her body can protect her, that she can create space, push someone away if necessary, or escape a dangerous hold, it changes how she sees herself. She moves differently, proud, assured, and aware of her own power. And starting at 10 means that confidence grows alongside her, gradually integrating into her personality. Safety isn't the only reason to build strength either. Early training helps prevent injuries in daily life. Learning proper stances, safe falls, and controlled movements reduces the likelihood of accidents on the playground or in sports. Girls learn how to absorb impact, distribute weight, and react safely in unpredictable situations. It's like giving them a physical insurance policy, one that teaches awareness and skill rather than relying solely on luck. Another thing I love about starting young is how quickly girls absorb complex movement patterns. At 10, the brain is like a sponge when it comes to motor skills. Introduce balance drills, defensive maneuvers, or escape techniques, and within weeks, they're executing movements that adults might struggle with. It's fascinating to watch. And this is important because self-defense is not about brute force. It's about efficiency. A 10-year-old girl might not be the strongest person in the room, but if she knows where to place her hands, how to twist her body, and how to leverage momentum, she can defend herself effectively. Physical training also instills discipline. Practicing regularly, showing up for classes, listening to instructors, and perfecting moves teaches commitment. My daughter started looking forward to each session, not just for the fun or the new techniques, but because she recognized that consistent effort yields results. That lesson, effort equals reward, is a cornerstone of life, and it starts with physical growth. Strength becomes a metaphor for persistence, and that metaphor carries forward into academics, friendships, and personal goals. Finally, the mental benefits of physical strength shouldn't be overlooked. A girl who practices self-defense feels capable. Her confidence isn't fake. It's grounded in actual ability. She learns to trust her body to react correctly, to stay calm under pressure, and to carry herself with assurance. Starting at 10 allows this trust to develop early. It becomes part of her identity, something she relies on throughout adolescence and into adulthood. And when you pair this physical empowerment with early awareness, you get a powerful combination. A girl who is alert, capable, and confident. So to summarize this section, physical strength and self-defense is more than muscles. It's coordination, endurance, resilience, awareness, and empowerment. Starting at age 10 allows girls to absorb lessons naturally, integrate movements with confidence, and grow both physically and mentally. These early gains create a foundation for all the other aspects of self-defense: mental preparedness, situational awareness, and lifelong confidence. By the time she reaches her teens, a girl who started young has not just practiced moves, she has developed a body and mind ready to handle challenges with poise and skill. Okay, now let's dive into mental preparedness and confidence. This is where self-defense really becomes more than just physical moves. You see, learning techniques is one thing, but training your mind to react under pressure, to make quick decisions, and to trust your instincts is an entirely different skill set. And here's the best part. Starting at age 10 gives girls plenty of time to develop these mental muscles alongside their physical ones. By the time they hit their teenage years, they're not just strong, they're resilient, aware, and confident. I remember my daughter's first scenario-based drill in her self-defense class. The instructor set up a simple stranger approaching simulation. At first, she froze. Her heart raced, her palms were sweaty, and she wasn't sure what to do. But after repeated practice, she began to respond instinctively. She stepped back, raised her hands in a defensive stance, and used her voice firmly to assert herself. What struck me wasn't that she could perform the moves, it was how her demeanor changed. That hesitation turned into confidence, and that confidence became muscle memory for her brain. The mental training, not just the physical, is where the magic happens. Mental preparedness at this age is crucial because 10-year-olds are old enough to understand cause and effect, but young enough that lessons stick without cynicism. We often underestimate how quickly children can internalize problem-solving strategies. When girls practice self-defense, they're learning to analyze situations, predict potential outcomes, and act quickly. These skills transfer to school, social situations, and even online interactions. Suddenly, a child who might have been hesitant about speaking up now feels capable of making decisions calmly under pressure. One of the biggest confidence boosters from self-defense training is learning to set boundaries. Saying no assertively, refusing to follow someone's instructions if it feels unsafe, and expressing discomfort in a firm voice are all skills that girls practice in class. And starting at 10 makes it second nature. My daughter began practicing simple verbal assertiveness drills, like saying, "Stop, I don't like that," or "Back off, please." At first, it felt awkward to her, but over time, she delivered those statements with authority. This wasn't about aggression. It was about self-assurance, the kind that radiates from a child who trusts her own instincts. Mental preparedness also involves handling fear. Fear isn't bad, it's a signal. But panic is what can get someone into trouble. When girls start self-defense young, they learn the difference between fear and panic. They practice staying calm in stressful situations, breathing through tension, and reacting logically. For instance, during sparring drills, instructors intentionally create mild stress scenarios. The girls learn to think clearly and act decisively rather than freezing. By starting at 10, these coping mechanisms embed deeply into their mindset, giving them a sense of control in situations that might otherwise feel overwhelming. Another key aspect of mental preparedness is developing quick decision-making skills. Self-defense training often involves what would you do if scenarios. Someone grabs your bag, someone blocks your path, someone makes a threatening gesture. By repeatedly analyzing options and practicing responses, girls learn to make split-second decisions confidently. They learn to evaluate threats quickly. Is it safe to escape? Is it safe to call for help? Or is it safe to engage physically? That ability to assess, decide, and act becomes instinctual over time. Starting at 10 gives them years of repetition before real-life situations ever occur, and that experience is invaluable. Mental confidence grows hand in hand with physical skill. There's a feedback loop. As girls notice their bodies responding correctly in drills, their minds gain assurance. They realize, I can handle this. I know what to do. That self-belief extends beyond safety scenarios. I've seen my daughter become more willing to take on challenges at school, participate in class discussions, and even try new sports or activities simply because she trusts herself. The mental empowerment from self-defense doesn't just keep her safe. It nurtures independence and initiative. It's also about trust. Trust in oneself and trust in instincts. Young girls often look to adults for guidance in tricky situations, which is natural. But self-defense teaches them that their perceptions and reactions matter. They learn to trust that inner voice that says something isn't right and to act on it confidently. By starting at 10, this trust develops gradually. They learn that listening to themselves isn't rude or disobedient, it's wise. Let's not forget resilience. Mistakes happen. Sometimes drills don't go perfectly. Sometimes a scenario is more challenging than expected. Learning to recover quickly, adapt, and try again is a mental skill that self-defense cultivates. My daughter occasionally stumbled in sparring sessions, and instead of getting discouraged, she learned to analyze what went wrong, adjust, and keep practicing. Resilience builds naturally through repetition and early exposure. By adolescence, she's not just capable in defense, she's emotionally prepared to face challenges with persistence and poise. Finally, mental preparedness and confidence go hand in hand with empowerment. When girls practice self-defense from a young age, they internalize the lesson that they have agency over their own bodies and choices. That realization is transformative. It's not about fear. It's about knowing that they can respond effectively, assert boundaries, and navigate uncertainty with clarity. 10-year-olds who train develop an inner strength that carries through school years, social interactions, and beyond. So, to wrap up this section, starting self-defense at age 10 isn't just about physical drills, it's about training the mind. Mental preparedness teaches quick thinking, resilience, situational awareness, and self-assured decision-making. Confidence grows naturally as skills improve, boundaries become clear, and trust in instinct strengthens. By the time these girls are teens, they have a mental toolkit ready to handle challenges with calm, clarity, and courage. A foundation that will support them in every aspect of life, from safety to self-reliance. All right, let's get practical now and talk about navigating real-life situations. This is where everything we've discussed, awareness, strength, mental preparedness, comes together. It's one thing to practice in a class with drills and instructors, and it's another to take those skills out into the world, whether it's at school, in a park, or on public transport. Starting at age 10 gives girls time to internalize lessons. So when a real scenario happens, their reactions are automatic, confident, and safe. Picture this: a typical day at school. The hallway is crowded, lockers are clanging, and there's always a few older kids jostling through. A girl who's been practicing self-defense knows how to navigate that space without getting pushed, tripped, or overwhelmed. She understands how to maintain personal space, how to project confidence with her posture and tone, and how to assert boundaries without escalating conflict. These aren't just physical skills. They're situational awareness in action. Starting young ensures that by the time tricky social dynamics appear, she's prepared both mentally and physically. I remember a story my daughter shared with me. She was walking home from school when a stranger approached her, trying to engage in conversation. Because of her training, she immediately recognized the red flags. She stopped, positioned herself so she had clear exits, used her voice firmly to say, "No, thank you," and walked away calmly. The stranger left without further issue. She later told me that the drills she had practiced, maintaining distance, projecting confidence, and using verbal assertiveness, made the situation feel manageable instead of frightening. Starting at 10 meant she had years of practice before facing real-world scenarios. Public spaces present different challenges too. Parks, playgrounds, or even public transportation can have unpredictable situations. A child trained in self-defense knows not to ignore gut feelings. If someone approaches too closely, she can step back, keep hands visible, and prepare to act. She can scan the environment for safe exits or find an adult nearby. These practical habits, developed over years of early training, become second nature. Without early exposure, a child might freeze, hesitate, or fail to assert herself, exactly the moments that predators look for. Situations at home or in the neighborhood also benefit. Let's face it, bullying can happen anywhere, not just at school. Self-defense teaches girls strategies to respond appropriately, using assertive words, moving to safe spaces, and seeking help from trusted adults. The key is that these responses aren't aggressive, they're measured and effective. Early training ensures that when stress arises, the instinct isn't panic, it's action. Another aspect is problem solving under pressure. Self-defense isn't just about reacting physically, it's about evaluating options quickly. Should she escape? Should she shout to attract attention? Should she use a defensive technique? Starting at 10 allows for repeated practice in controlled environments, which builds the ability to make split-second decisions without fear clouding judgment. By the time a real-life scenario happens, the response feels natural. Even everyday interactions benefit. For example, negotiating space on a crowded bus or politely refusing unwanted physical contact from peers can be intimidating for a child. Training provides the tools to handle these interactions with confidence and grace. My daughter, after her first year of classes, came home and told me how she had used a firm voice to stop a classmate from grabbing her backpack. It was a small moment, but the principle is huge. Knowing you have the right to protect your space makes a child feel empowered in everyday life. Navigating real-life situations also teaches adaptability. No two scenarios are identical, so children learn to improvise safely. A blocked pathway, an unexpected hand grab, or a sudden push all require different responses. Repeated exposure in class to varied scenarios builds flexibility. Starting at 10 gives girls the time to experiment, make mistakes, and learn in low-stakes environments. By the time they are teenagers, they're adept at adjusting their responses to fit the situation, which increases safety and confidence. Communication skills play a critical role, too. Self-defense teaches girls to use their voice effectively, to assert boundaries, call for help, and convey confidence. In real life, this is often the most powerful tool. A firm stop or a loud shout can deter an aggressor faster than any physical maneuver. Early practice ensures these verbal skills become natural, not forced, giving girls an advantage in situations where words matter as much as action. Lastly, early training builds independence. A 10-year-old learning to navigate her environment safely begins to feel capable of making decisions on her own. She's not reckless. She's alert, prepared, and self-reliant. These lessons carry into adolescence and adulthood, fostering a sense of responsibility and autonomy. The confidence gained from successfully navigating real-life situations reinforces all the other skills, mental, physical, and social, creating a well-rounded approach to personal safety. So, to sum up this section, navigating real-life situations is the ultimate test of all self-defense skills. Starting at age 10 allows girls to internalize awareness, physical techniques, mental preparedness, and verbal strategies over time. They learn to move confidently through crowded spaces, respond appropriately to threats, and handle everyday interactions with authority and calm. These skills aren't just about avoiding danger. They're about building independence, resilience, and self-assurance that lasts a lifetime. Now let's talk about empowerment through community, which is one of the most underrated benefits of starting self-defense at a young age. You see, learning to protect yourself isn't just about individual skill. It's about sharing the journey with peers, mentors, and role models who reinforce confidence, safety, and resilience. Starting at age 10 gives girls the perfect window to form these supportive networks, which can last a lifetime, and make the learning process fun, social, and deeply impactful. I remember the first time my daughter attended a group class. She was nervous, unsure if she could keep up with the other girls, but the instructors created an environment of encouragement, and the other students cheered each other on through drills. Suddenly, self-defense wasn't just about techniques. It was about connection. When girls see peers succeeding, they realize they can do it too. When they make mistakes, the community supports them, creating a safe space to learn and grow. That social reinforcement strengthens both confidence and competence. Community also exposes girls to role models they might not encounter otherwise. Instructors, older students, or visiting mentors demonstrate not just how to execute a move, but how to embody confidence, composure, and assertiveness. Watching someone handle challenges with poise teaches lessons beyond the physical, lessons about courage, patience, and perseverance. Starting at 10 means girls have years to absorb these examples, gradually integrating the behaviors into their own personalities. By adolescence, these role models have left a lasting impression on how they approach challenges. Peer support is another critical element. Practicing with classmates allows girls to encourage each other, share insights, and celebrate successes together. My daughter came home after a session one day, glowing because she had helped a younger student master a wrist escape move. That sense of accomplishment, of helping others while improving herself, reinforced her confidence and her understanding of teamwork. Early exposure to peer-based training teaches collaboration, empathy, and the idea that empowerment grows when shared rather than hoarded. Group training also provides exposure to diverse situations and styles. In a class, girls encounter peers of different sizes, strengths, and abilities, learning to adapt their techniques accordingly. They practice defending against various approaches, developing versatility. This adaptability is harder to learn in isolation, and it highlights the value of community-based learning. By starting young, girls have the advantage of years to refine these skills in a controlled, supportive environment before facing real-world challenges. Mentorship is another key benefit. Instructors often provide guidance that goes beyond moves and drills. They coach girls through fear, self-doubt, and hesitation. They teach strategies for verbal assertiveness, spatial awareness, and decision-making. Having a trusted adult mentor reinforces the lessons being taught, giving girls a reliable source of advice and encouragement. Starting at 10 maximizes the time girls can benefit from this mentorship, building strong relationships that support both self-defense and overall personal growth. Beyond the immediate skills, being part of a self-defense community fosters resilience. Girls witness others overcoming fear, pushing through challenges, and improving steadily. They learn that setbacks are normal and that persistence pays off. This mindset becomes contagious. Seeing someone else succeed encourages them to persevere through their own obstacles. When this culture of resilience is embedded from age 10, it becomes a natural part of their approach to life's challenges. Empowerment through community also builds social confidence. Girls learn to speak up, offer help, and assert themselves respectfully within a group. They practice communication, leadership, and accountability. My daughter often tells me how she feels more confident interacting with classmates and teachers because she has learned to assert herself in a safe, supportive environment. These lessons extend far beyond self-defense. They impact academics, extracurriculars, and friendships. Safety is reinforced as well. When girls train in groups, they practice watching out for each other, recognizing danger signs, and supporting peers in challenging drills. That awareness and cooperation extend into everyday life. A girl who learns to protect herself also learns to be mindful of friends, siblings, and community members. Starting at age 10 ensures that these habits are cultivated early, becoming a natural part of her social interactions. Finally, community engagement nurtures a sense of belonging and identity. Being part of a group with shared goals fosters pride, self-esteem, and motivation. Girls learn that they are part of something bigger than themselves, a network of support, empowerment, and shared growth. The sense of achievement, connection, and camaraderie reinforces their commitment to self-defense while shaping their social and emotional development. So, to summarize this section, empowerment through community amplifies the benefits of self-defense training. Starting at age 10 allows girls to learn from mentors, collaborate with peers, and gain social confidence while practicing skills in a safe, supportive environment. The combination of role models, peer encouragement, and mentorship fosters resilience, adaptability, and empowerment. Girls develop confidence not just individually, but as part of a collective experience that strengthens both skills and character. Finally, let's explore the lifelong benefits beyond safety that come from starting self-defense at age 10. By this point, we've covered awareness, physical strength, mental preparedness, real-life navigation, and community empowerment. But the impact doesn't stop there. Early training creates habits, confidence, and resilience that extend far into adulthood, shaping personality, decision-making, and overall self-reliance. Starting young allows girls to internalize a sense of autonomy. When a child learns that she can protect herself, make decisions, and act independently, she carries that confidence into every aspect of her life. My daughter, now a few years older, demonstrates this every day. Whether she's tackling a challenging school project or negotiating responsibilities at home, she approaches situations with a quiet assurance that she can handle whatever comes her way. Self-defense isn't just about fending off threats. It's about fostering a mindset of empowerment that permeates life. Physical and mental habits established at a young age persist and evolve over time. Balance, coordination, and reflexes honed in self-defense classes strengthen athletic abilities and general fitness. Mental resilience and quick decision-making, built through repeated drills and scenario exercises, transfer to academics, social interactions, and career challenges. By starting at 10, girls give themselves years of training that compounds into a foundation for lifelong competence. What begins as just a class becomes a pattern of discipline, problem-solving, and self-belief that's hard to shake. Confidence and self-expression is another lifelong benefit. Girls who practice self-defense early learn to set boundaries, communicate assertively, and trust their instincts. Over time, this translates into stronger interpersonal skills, whether at school, work, or in relationships. I've noticed my daughter speaking up more in class, negotiating playdates, and handling disagreements with peers calmly and confidently. The seeds planted at age 10 grow into adult abilities to advocate for oneself and others effectively. Early self-defense training also nurtures emotional intelligence. Children learn to read body language, interpret social cues, and respond appropriately in diverse situations. They develop empathy by practicing with peers, understanding that strength includes protecting and supporting others. These emotional skills enhance friendships, teamwork, and leadership abilities. The lessons learned on the mat or in drills, such as patience, persistence, and collaboration, become ingrained ways of interacting with the world. Safety awareness becomes instinctive. By adolescence, girls who started self-defense young can assess risk, navigate public spaces confidently, and respond quickly in emergencies. This instinctual preparedness isn't learned overnight. It builds gradually, layer by layer, over years of practice. Early exposure ensures that these skills are automatic rather than reactive, giving girls a sense of security that supports independence. The peace of mind gained from knowing they have the tools to protect themselves is invaluable and long-lasting. Self-reliance and personal responsibility are natural outcomes of early training. Learning self-defense encourages girls to take ownership of their actions, choices, and safety. They develop accountability for themselves and, by extension, their communities. My daughter often reminds me to check her surroundings and make thoughtful decisions, reflecting the habits cultivated through years of consistent practice. These lessons extend well beyond safety into all areas of adult life: career, family, and social dynamics. Lifelong physical fitness is another bonus. Habits established at age 10, stretching, strength training, coordination exercises, and controlled movements create a love for movement that often continues into adulthood. Girls who start early are more likely to maintain active lifestyles, understanding that fitness is both enjoyable and empowering. Physical health, in turn, reinforces mental health, creating a holistic benefit that supports confidence, focus, and emotional stability. Finally, starting early fosters a legacy of empowerment. A girl who begins self defense at 10 can inspire her peers, younger siblings, or even her community. She becomes a role model, demonstrating the value of preparedness, resilience, and self respect. The lessons she carries forward are not limited to safety. They influence character, leadership, and how she navigates life with integrity and confidence. In summary, starting self defense at age 10 is about far more than immediate safety. It's about building a foundation for lifelong growth. Girls gain physical skills, mental resilience, situational awareness, community support, confidence, and a sense of empowerment that lasts into adulthood. These early experiences shape habits, personality, and decision making, creating self reliant, capable, and confident individuals who are ready to face challenges with poise and skill. By starting young, girls don't just learn to defend themselves, they learn to thrive in life. Conclusion: 300 words. So, to wrap up this journey, we've seen how starting self defense at age 10 creates a chain reaction of benefits. From early awareness to physical strength, mental preparedness, real life navigation, community empowerment, and lifelong skills, each layer reinforces the others. A young girl doesn't just learn techniques, she learns confidence, resilience, and independence. She learns to trust herself, assess her environment, and act decisively. She learns that strength isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and social. Early training transforms everyday experiences into opportunities for growth. School hallways, playgrounds, and public spaces become arenas for practicing awareness, assertiveness, and situational intelligence. Peer interactions and mentorship reinforce social skills, empathy, and leadership. Physical drills build coordination, endurance, and reflexes that last a lifetime. By adolescence, a girl who started at 10 is equipped not only to protect herself, but also to navigate the world with confidence and clarity. The true power of starting young lies in the long-term integration of these lessons. They don't fade, they compound. The girl who trained early carries a sense of self-reliance, empowerment, and preparedness into adulthood. She inspires others, models courage, and embodies the principles of confidence and safety every day. Self-defense becomes more than a skill. It becomes a lifestyle, shaping character, habits, and perspective. Enjoy listening and subscribe to the channel to see the next video. Remember, investing in these early lessons isn't just about safety. It's about nurturing empowered, resilient, and capable individuals who can thrive in any situation. Starting at age 10 might seem early, but it sets the stage for a lifetime of confidence, competence, and self-respect. Empowerment begins young and the benefits last forever.